The Community Relations Commission's study of alleged police brutality in the Rodriguez case, plus several other cases of alleged police harassment of local Mexican Americans, will be presented here at the Gabe P. Allen School in less than 2 hours. This afternoon, CRC Chairman Tom Eunice voiced his opinion and that of the Commission that he hoped the findings would soothe over the angry tempers that were openly present at the last CRC meeting here earlier this month. The 16-page rough draft and final recommendations were submitted by a 15-man committee Tuesday at a closed meeting of the Commission. The study was conducted by 8 members of the Commission plus 7 volunteer Mexican Americans from this West Dallas area, then handed over to the Commission for their final recommendations. We'll have a final report of those recommendations on the 10 o'clock news. Carl Mayo reporting.
We felt the need to call the Mid-Cities chambers together to explore areas in which greater areas of cooperation could be found, things that we could work on together to the benefit of the whole group.
Is this the making of some sort of super chamber of commerce for the Mid-Cities area, or is it just some form of agreement where you can get together and discuss common problems?
An agreement whereby we can get together and discuss common problems.
What are some of the common problems that are facing you?
The regional airport is one prime example in the Mid-Cities area. Also, Highway 360 would be another. The Trinity River Canal would be another area, as well as taxation for the tremendous growth that will take place in this Mid-Cities area.
I'm quite optimist as the relations between Romania and the United States develop. In the last few years, they knew some good developments, normal, in all fields, in economic fields, in cultural fields, scientific fields. But certainly there are many other possibilities.
We, of course, are going to be looking particularly at their early childhood programs. I've toured the Scandinavian countries 3 years ago and found many things there to be very useful in terms of implementing and improving our programs for early childhood education. The Soviet Union, I understand, has made some significant strides in the area of early childhood education, and hopefully we'll find some methods, some materials, some programs there that might be adapted here. In addition to that, we're going to be looking at vocational and technical education in particular to see how they go about making it possible for all students to have a skill to market when they complete their school program.
Do you think that the Soviet Union has anything to compare with, say, Skyline High School?
I don't think that they will have anything that would compare with Skyline, nor our total program here. Our system, of course, is vastly superior to their system. However, there are some areas that we might learn something from by way of improving our own.
Well, I've already started training here out at SMU. I've been going at it about 3 weeks now, and I'm just working on my legs to get them in shape, and I guess about June I should be ready to start running real hard then.
What's your mental attitude right now about playing for the Giants?
Well, right now it's pretty good because when I got to New York, they treated me real well, and I didn't have any problem. And Webster and I, we hit it off pretty well, and he's looking forward to having me in New York, so I'm looking forward to going.
One of these days, and not too far in the future, you're going to have to play against Dallas.
Well, like I said, that's why I started early, so I'll be ready when the time comes, because I think I have quite a score to settle.
In what way?
Well, because the thing that I wanted to do here in Dallas, I really don't feel that I got the chance to do, but that's water under the bridge as far as I'm concerned.
You have some pretty mean men on that line in front of you.
Well, I mean, it's not so much of that, because I know if I play up to my expectations, there's nobody any better than I am, and I came off that injury, and I don't feel that I had the chance to really get back in the in top form that I was before I got injured.
In other words, reclaiming your place in the line was you feel not fairly handled?
Well, in a sense, yeah, because one of the things that hurt me was not having a training camp. We had the strike, and a guy, I missed a year and a half, so I needed that training camp in order, get my timing back, and also to help my mental attitude, and I didn't get this time.
You must have some thoughts, though, about being the first black winner of a Miss World contest.
Well, I'm very happy that my people can be represented, and in such this is the first time that my country entered the Miss World contest, so I'm doubly honored.
Do you feel that you possibly won by virtue of your race?
Oh, I couldn't feel that. I don't think anyone could feel that, but I'm nonetheless happy that I should win, and that there should be sufficient opportunity for people like myself to win.
What's next for you?
I hope lots and lots of things. First of all, I might tell you, I'm pretty ambitious. I like to do things. This has opened lots of doors to me. I think I'm keeping all the contacts that I make this year and hoping to do things next year.
The Vice President was speaking for himself. Vice Presidents traditionally do, as was the case with former Vice President Johnson, former Vice President Nixon, and Humphrey. I would say that this particular documentary, I think, was one-sided against the military. It failed to get any positive part. I think it needed better balance. I would not join in criticizing all CBS documentaries, because there have been some good ones as well as bad ones.
Is that the administration's position on it?
Well, there's been no set administration position. That's my position as the Director of Communications for the administration.
Just between you and us, does the President agree with Mr. Agnew?
The President hasn't seen the film, so he wouldn't be in a position to agree or disagree on it.
Assuming that the Vice President is correct in his criticism, isn't this grounds for action against CBS?
No, I don't think government ought to be moving into the field of taking action. I think you can have debate, and CBS has been critical of Vice President also. I don't think that they have grounds for action against him.
Đây là tình hình chiến sự tại vùng 3 và vùng 4 chiến thuật trong 24 giờ qua. Nhìn chung thì hoạt động địch trong 24 giờ qua ở mức độ thấp tại vùng 3 chiến thuật. Trong 24 giờ qua, ta không ghi nhận một vụ chạm súng nào đáng kể, cũng như một hoạt động địch nào tại khu vực này. Ngoài ra trong cái hầm này, lực lượng bạn cũng còn tịch thu được 3 đạn 82 ly, một số đạn 60 ly, 2 đạn 75 ly. Chúc các bạn.
The City Council admitted there is hunger in the city of excellence and chose Operation Assist as the vehicle they will support in the alleviation of hunger and malnutrition. The Southern Christian Leadership Operation Breadbasket primary concern is feeding the hungry and getting the city to go on record that widespread hunger exists in the city of Dallas. The SCLC Operation Breadbasket, for the present, endorses Operation Assist.
First of all, it permits a person to register and to register year-round with a 30-day cutoff before any particular election. That is, as long as you're registered more than 30 days, you can vote in any election. Secondly, it permits a voter who votes within a 4-year period in either the primary election or the general election to be automatically re-registered for the next 4-year period. And the third feature is that it has the best cleansing and purging features of any voter registration in the country.
The Commission found evidence to indicate significant abuse by certain unidentified officers of fundamental constitutional rights. It is particularly disturbing since there is apparent agreement by all concerned as to when and under what circumstances such entries and searches are legally permissible. The problem seems not to be one involving a difference between policy and law, but instead a variation between policy and practice.
I think that the question is whether or not we can solve the problem of hunger and feed people, and who outmaneuvers who is totally irrelevant.
Reverend Lakey said that he was not going to ask for any money at all, but your contingency here called for a program coordinator, 5 locations, program aides, and additional funds. So isn't that self-canceling?
It's sort of foolish to say that you're going to be able to feed all the people in Dallas on a budget of something like $35,000 a year, and not have distribution centers located in the areas, and not be able to have people demand these things. And you're going to have to pay. This is going to cost money. I don't necessarily mean that the city has to allocate these funds, but maybe their resource developer, if they chose to get one, can get funds from some other agencies or whatever, a private source to do that. But it's definitely going to cost money.
I think you were up till now always in the forefront of technical progress, and we learned a lot from you, and we always thought scientific research and such things here you are the pioneers, and we are following. It's the first time that perhaps you are relying on what we are doing in Europe. You know that we try to develop from the Western European countries, England, France, and Germany, something of the same kind. And it would be good if American Airlines would use European planes.
Senate State Affairs Committee has begun hearing tax ideas. This is a long parade which is expected to continue tomorrow and in fact into next week. Most of the witnesses appearing before the State Affairs Committee today have been from lobbyists and special interest groups and various associations, such as Hank Brown, head of the AFL-CIO. He said he also represents several other unions as he spoke today. The basic difference of opinion among these witnesses seems to be on how much tax business should bear as opposed to how much tax consumers should bear, and in fact how much tax business and consumers are sharing in the present state budget. There's one theory here that if the Senate would approve a corporate profits tax to go along with the House-passed sales tax, that might be the essence of a bill for the tax measures needed to raise the $500 or $600 million for this year's budget. Earlier today, the Senate approved a measure by Senator Mike McKool of Dallas dealing with voter registration.
The people that die, the people that are convicted felons, the people that are mentally incompetent are cleaned from the rolls, and they're stricken from the rolls actually every 30 days. And this brings our voter list up to date each month.
McKool's voter registration bill is the first of an expected general reform of Texas election laws. Others still to be voted on would reduce the high filing fees and would move the primary election dates into late summer, shortening the campaign, and there are others. Meanwhile, on the other end of the Capitol building today, the House of Representatives put off until Monday an expected floor fight over an investigating commission to look into the Securities and Exchange Commission stock fraud case. The Rules Committee reported out a bill which would create a fact-finding commission. However, those who have called for a full investigation of the matter say that the fact-finding commission is certainly not enough. The author of that bill, Carl Parker, says that the fact-finding commission is needed, but he will go along also with creation of the General Investigating Committee. House Speaker Gus Mutscher today announced that he will, next week, make a speech to the House of Representatives explaining his position in the stock fraud case and also including a release of his financial status. So next week looks like another focal point on the alleged scandal that has rocked the state of Texas for several months now. This is Roger McDonald, Channel 8 News on the Move in Austin.
This spectacular accident happened at about a minute to midnight last night. According to Katy Railroad spokesman, their train had just dropped off 2 cars and was leaving the city, traveling at about 12 miles an hour. Katy officials went on to say that they can find no fault in their automatic signal devices, which, according to them, were operating last night. 30 cars from the 2 trains, the Missouri Pacific and Katy trains, were derailed, causing more than $100,000 damages to the trains and to the tracks. 3 men aboard the Missouri Pacific train sustained injuries. On the Katy, 1 was injured. 2 of them remain hospitalized from the Missouri Pacific wreck. Train service should be restored sometime late this evening. One question comes to mind. How could something like this happen in this modern day of communications? Both trains were equipped with radios, but for some reason, they're on separate frequencies and had no communication. Art Sinclair, Channel 8 News on the Move, Itasca.
No, I don't. You know, there's a lot of pressure, and I just try to relax and not worry about it. Just go out there and give 100% and do your best.
If you had to start over again, would you choose goaltending as your position?
Oh, never. No, I'd be a forward if I had all over. There's just too much pressure in playing goal.
You feel there'd be a lot then in the playoffs?
Oh, definitely. You just can't afford to make a mistake.
What about the Fort Worth team? What do they present that is unique?
Well, they have a very pressing attack. They throw the puck in, and they send 2 forecheckers in, and they try to get in front of the net and put it in.
Have they screened you very often this season?
Yeah, they do that quite a lot, and they've got good shooting defensemen, and they've got forwards that tip the puck real well.
If there is anybody in Fort Worth's offense that you have to stop, who would that be?
I'd say the key to their attack is Carlander. He's always in front of the net, and he's very dangerous. He's always been dangerous against us.
Where would you say has been the high point of the season for you, Jim?
I'd say my high point is when I got my second shutout in Tulsa. We were on a 3-game losing streak, and we came in there and we had a big talk what was going wrong. We went out and we won the game 3-0, and that was a high point for me.
Do you have to have a little luck on your side for a shutout?
Oh, definitely. It's all luck, actually, if I get a shutout, because, you know, there's deflections, screen shots, and you just have to get the breaks to get a shutout.
What's the feeling when a power play comes down your throat?
Oh, that's ultimate pressure, because you're out there, and they're strictly offense, you're strictly defense. They're 5 against 4, and it's just terrific.